Hi, welcome to Healthy Habits TV. I'm Dr. Chris Heater with Body Ingenuity and the founder of Healthy Habits TV. This week's Healthy Habits TV episode is all about canning. I spent this weekend canning my own tomatoes. That was kind of fun. As you see here in front of me, I've got a sample of the tomatoes. I still need to finish canning these. I picked a variety of heirloom tomatoes to can. I love heirlooms for two reasons. One, they're just fun. You can just see here in the basket there's a variety here. I have some ones here that look kind of like a yellow Roma. These are called a golden rave. I have other Roma looking tomatoes. It's not actually a Roma, but it is kind of very similar to that. I have a green tomato with a little bit of orange floating through towards the bottom. And then I've got an orange tomato here. Literally a plethora of options when it comes to heirloom tomatoes, lots of different ones you can try. Your farmer's market this time of year will probably have a variety of heirloom tomatoes if you've got a good large local farmer's market. You can also buy seeds to grow your own heirloom tomatoes, and those are available online. In my blog, I will send you to a couple different sites where you can pick up your own heirloom seeds to grow your own heirloom tomatoes next year. The great thing about heirloom tomatoes, besides just being fun, is that they have a much greater and deeper variety of nutrients in them. These heirloom tomatoes are tomatoes that have been around for sometimes over 100 or a couple hundred years. The nutrients have not been bred out of them. Oftentimes with commercial tomatoes that you find in the store, they taste very bland. They've been bred to stand resistance in terms of weather and pests, and so often when breeders breed for those traits, they actually breed out some of the nutrients and some of the flavor. With the heirloom tomatoes, you get a lot of flavor. The flavor will vary depending on the heirloom. The downside is they are not as easily resistant towards disease and pests, and so they may not look the prettiest, but for tomato sauce, it doesn't really matter, right? You can just pick whatever you've got and cut them up, and you'll never know the difference. So besides the tomatoes, the only thing that I needed to make my sauce was garlic and some salt. I used fresh garlic. I love fresh garlic, but you can also use already pre-cut, pre-chopped garlic. And then I also use some sea salt rather than iodized salt, and we've talked about this before, why sea salt is better than iodized salt. And then I also used some oregano. You could use fresh oregano. I happen to have some dried oregano, and that's what I chose to use. So very, very simple to can. All I did was chop up the garlic, and I actually kept my garlic as large cloves. You could chop it up finer if you wanted to, but it was just easier to keep it as large cloves. I sprinkled in some oregano and some sea salt in the bottom of my jar. I chopped up my tomatoes and packed them into the jar here. And you can see I did the variety. I had fun. I love making layers, different colors. It's a lot of fun if you've got kids. It's a great activity to get them involved in because they can make designs and have a great time packing your jars here. These are just standard ball jars, and then once my my jars are packed, and I usually use a spoon or my fingers to press the tomatoes down real tight. You put the lids on, the seal goes on first, and obviously the rim stays loose, and then you place your jar in a very large, tall bath of water. I start with warm water. I go ahead and put the jars in, and then I fill the bath, the container that the water is in. I fill that with even more water so that it covers the jars for about 1 inch. So 1 inch above the jars, and then I get that water bath boiling. So you just do it on top of the stove. The particular pot that I use holds about 5 of these jars, and once the water bath is boiling, you let it boil for about 10 minutes, and then turn the heat off, and then I start to ladle out the hot water. You'll hear a little pop in the lids. That means that the jars are sealing, and then I just let the jars cool there in the water bath, sometimes overnight or throughout the day. And then once they've cooled, you can store them, and you've got a great jar of tomatoes, and you can use that for sauce. You can use it for chili. I just make several jars of this, and I have them available in the wintertime. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't take that long, really. And again, if you've got kids, this is a great activity to do with your kids. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. This is my first year for canning. I haven't done it since I was a kid, so I had a lot of fun doing that this year, and it's not as hard as I remember it being. No pressure cookers, just a big pot and some boiling water. That's all you need, and have fun with it. So again, if you have any questions, let me know. Catch my blog. I'll add a few more tips and details there for you and send you to some sites where you can pick up heirloom tomatoes for next year. All right, have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.